Alright, we skipped the intros, we get on directly into the game. Welcome back. It's the semifinals, which might as well be the finals. The last thing to be cast tonight is the last series to be played. As this best of 5 determines which players will join, or which player, singular, will join Trap for the World Championship. Spawning in the top right, he just brought the series back, tied it up now 1-1. It's going to be the blue Terran player, Bbyong.
In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, it's Jenner's Terminator.
It's killing me. I love Twitch chat sometimes, but you guys, like, I've seen everyone complain, like, oh, Terran is everywhere, Terran's OP, but then I guess a lot of you didn't see game number 1.
Yeah. Two very different games, and honestly, I feel like Terminator had all the right tools to stop that, and if he didn't, that was totally on him.
Yeah. I mean, balanced discussion aside, I do think TVP is one of my more favorite matches to watch. I think TVZ is it is actually number 1. I'll take that back. But TVP is a very, very, very close second. And one of the things I've really enjoyed about it is the evolution of this matchup. It has changed a lot over time, and in doing so, it's caused a lot of strong opinions. You know, you're a Terran player, you think Protoss is overpowered. You're a Protoss player, you think Terran's overpowered. But I think that's kind of what instigates and insinuates that this is actually a pretty balanced matchup. If everybody's always complaining, you know, something else is wrong, but then there's something you can do about it and still win, hey, that sounds pretty good for your race. Yeah. Regardless, though, of all of that, Bbyong made a lot of really good moves, and I just can't believe, it's not that he got away with a couple of drops, but he got away with a lot of Doom drops. That shouldn't happen.
Not with High Templars out in the field. Like, if that happened when there was only 3 Phoenixes and he was still transitioning, okay, fine. Alright, that happens, but the High Templars were on the field, and they were in each base, and I thought he was totally covered, and, well, he wasn't. He didn't have him on the outlying edges, and, well, he's just being plain spread apart, but Deadwing is going to be a very different map, and he'll probably play different as well. That's felt like a build designed for that map, even if it didn't work out. So I hope to see something different here, maybe something more akin to what he did in Overgrowth. Like a lot of Colossus, basically.
Yeah, it's, man, the macro game just played so solid for him in that first one. It's really hard to say much else other than that, but at the same time, you could argue Bbyong also threw the game with the FCV pull, so it's hard to say as well that Bbyong really was bad in that game. I don't know. We will see how this plays out, though. In Deadwing, it's the macroest of macro maps, and if this goes past 2 bases, it'll probably go past 3 as well, but I don't know, Zombie Grub. There's just so much on the line in this best of 5. You can't really take these games lightly. Both these guys have been playing for a long time. The nice thing for the Koreans, though, for those who don't know, is it's still pretty early in the morning over there. In fact, it's probably like coming around noon, a little bit past.
Yeah, 2.
2 o'clock. Okay, so yeah, they've got their whole day ahead of them. This isn't so bad. Whereas again, folks like Snoot, I mean, they lose the tournament finishing up on like 5 a.m. You've been up all night playing. No, thank you.
Yeah. They're probably a little bit hungry now, though. Probably didn't get time to eat lunch with everyone else.
Yeah, isn't there WCS rules about like every 6 hours they should apply to all tournaments? Feed the casters.
Really? Are there?
Yeah, that's one of the things Aramy's been making lots of cracks at. After a certain amount of time, they have to like give players food or offer them food or something.
Oh, it's like school. You need to feed the kids.
Well, that was the thing with the WCS, that last group with all the swarm hosts and stuff, right? So, like, during the long games, Aramy was, like, tweeting things like, oh, need to stop the game. You have to offer people food. It's in the handbook.
Makes sense. Well, he's like the only one that read the freaking handbook.
Ooh, finds the probe. Nicely done, Bbyong.
Yeah, he was chasing that. He was intent. He had intent. Oh, well.
Of course, IEM has their own set of rules, by the way, guys. Just want to make that very clear for anyone who's maybe a more casual viewer. This is not WCS. Yes. This is Intel Extreme Masters.
Last game did... No, that was Overgrowth. Overgrowth opened up with GTs. What did last game... Oh, the Oracle, of course. Yeah, right. So this game we have more passive opener from Terminator.
Yeah, but Bbyong's always been insistent on using this Marine push both games now, and I'm a little bit curious on the thought process on it, because I guess paired up with a couple Hellions, they can take the shots. I don't know, Marines have a lot of good damage, but this isn't not like pushing into Queens. Stalkers can kite quite well.
So they're gonna run past Stalkers, and they do. Both of them get past.
Well, one will.
Okay.
There's a mothership. Oh, okay, I was gonna say, where's the mothership at? Not quite gonna bait out the overcharge. It doesn't quite get the Stalker sadly. It turns this around to kill maybe 2 probes, and this looks very reminiscent of that last game where he dives in and it's like 2 workers killed for 2 workers killed. But 4 probes in total, because he also got that one on the other side of the map. Hellion in the main. did live, but one Hellion doesn't exactly kill probes too quickly.
No, but it gets a good scout after, I guess.
Yeah, actually, I kind of wish you would have hit that. I mean, it's 7.5 minutes in. I guess the important tech would be established at this point, but it actually gets an overcharge with it. So hey, kind of ends up being a little bit worth it at the end.
That's very surprising. He held off on the overcharge for 4 Marines that were killing his probes, but
not one Hellion.
you
I know.
the one Hellion.
I guess maybe he thought it was a drop, perhaps. Wondered like, hey, that's weird for it to come down from the north.
But isn't there a drop set up? Wasn't he gonna go into a Widow one drop? Okay, it's loading up on the main now.
I'm just saying, for Terminator, that may have been like a knee-jerk reaction because he thought there was more behind it than it was.
Oh yeah, but it's now gonna be, you know, he's not gonna regret that because is there gonna be one for the? Oh, there's gonna be one. Okay, not 2 though, so this is gonna wear off, and Bbyong might be able to abuse that.
Yeah, we see Hearthstone actually taking this a lot lately. This quicker third on Deadwing versus Terran. I definitely like this better than the other base. It's a lot easier to abuse this as a Terran player, but SV, let's really see, not much.
No. It just really sucks he doesn't see that third, of course. You know, everything else seems to be very standard. He saw that it was going to be Blink with the Robo, so it makes sense. Colossus.
What does this drop? It's one Widowmine, and that's cool, but what's with the one Marine?
I don't know. Did he mean to pick up the other Widowmine on accident?
That'd be really awkward. You come across with like expecting 2 Widowmines. Oh, oops!
It's like when you pick up an SCV on accident or a Reaper.
Forgot my keys at home. Well, the Marine actually draws the fire at the photon overcharge, but doesn't get the burrow off because there's the observer right there. So, no damage done. 2 very awkward Marines walking forward here. 2. There's no tank in this. I don't know what's going on here for Bbyong. It's all sorts of messy.
No, he's just trying to really accomplish this Widowmine drop, but it's not doing so hot. And now he knows that third base has been taken, and what aggression can he do that stops that? His opener wasn't really like, I'm gonna kill a building, it's I'm gonna kill probes, and well, third base isn't a probe.
Well, taking his own third base is really not a bad alternative. Maybe even taking a faster fourth, but
true.
One thing he's gonna have to keep in mind is, more importantly than the third, he knows his opponent went to Colossus Tech. This wasn't the question of the guesswork. Is it charge lots? Is it storm? No, it is Colossus Tech.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, decent shot.
Yes.
So second starport completes here really quick, and we're going to get that Viking production started immediately.
Yes, very early on. There aren't that many abusable positions on Deadwing, not like overgrowth in the kitchen. Especially if you're attacking into this third. Again, if it was the other third, that's obviously a ledge and abusable.
It's weird because, like, just generally speaking for Terra, you judge on the fact saying, like, oh, if you get 4 Vikings at a time this early, you'll have 16, you'll truck through an army, and have a good, jolly time. But he tried to do that in game 1. It didn't work out for him, even with an SCV pool, so it's really hard for me to say that that would necessarily work for Bbyong. I mean, he very well may try and pull the SCVs again. It's Deadwing after all, but not before he's got a Viking count up.
Yeah. And since it is Deadwing, his other option to be that drop-heavy guy like last game, it's really, it's going away. There aren't High Templars this time, sure, but there's so few more positions to pull them apart. And, you know, the third base really isn't all that far away, and in fact, it's right next to the main, so it's not going to be as easy. And I'm kind of feeling the SCV pool here once the upgrades are finished. Maybe. But with that time, Terminator will have quite a few Colossus, already up to almost 4. So I don't know about that.
Well, I like this Dark Shrine coming up for the late game. Definitely something that might just catch Bbyong off guard, because he's not really put turrets down. There was no threat of the Oracle, there was no fear of these Dark Templar earlier on. Unless he actually scouts this with a very lucky scan or something, there's no reason for him to anticipate that this Dark Shrine is in fact on the way.
I'm just gonna hit rather good timing here. No guesses taken at the third. Took a while to go up to High Templar. The charge is about to finish. His upgrades, double forward, of course, are on the way, and those are looking better than Bbyong's. But will we see that fourth base from Bbyong? Will we see the SCV pool?
Oh man, if this were to somehow ninja Bbyong scouted, this would be so cool. But hallucinating feeding shut down. Pushing through the middle of the map. He actually pulls back to consolidate his forces. Let's see what's that count at for the Vikings. 12. He got up to 12 count pretty quick too, but there's a lot of Raxes coming down. I really don't think he's going to pull the boys this time around, because if he does, he wouldn't be investing in future production.
Yeah. Yeah, well, in a Ghost Academy as well, so there goes the 4th. Okay, so it's going to be the Macker game. He will be behind on those upgrades, having the 2nd Engineering Bay, I believe, later. But I'll catch up not as soon as you would like, but I guess eventually.
Well, his opponent, this isn't like when Harson was playing, he psyched out Bunny with like the wrong tech or anything like that. He's still got a lot of Colossus. He's got heavy investment into his upgrades. This time around for Terminator, he will have 3-3, and this is this kind of sucks for a Terran player, honestly, trying to catch up in those upgrades. You don't have the power of that Chrono Boost, so they get the upgrades much sooner. But if you can last long enough, you'll catch up in the upgrades a little bit later on, and maybe that's where the game tangos out. But I want to point out, he actually did quite well last game with no ghosts. He invested in them, but I don't think there's a single snipe. I don't remember hearing any EMPs.
Did he, in fact, get a ghost, or then just got a Ghost Academy?
Yeah, he actually invested in personal cloaking and everything, but yeah, I don't think he built any ghosts.
Interesting.
But yeah, this time he's got 5 coming out pretty quick. Should work out nicely.
But it is that late game PvT, and they've both been very passive. I guess Protoss would still say that Mass Ghost Viking is a scary composition, and it certainly is, but the later the game goes on, you usually see Tempest rule all, if you really do see the game get that far.
It's going to be annoying. DT does get here to the main. Trying to pick off that Warp Prism. Sadly, doesn't quite get it before the Zealots warp in.
Oh, and Terminator is moving out while this harassment's going on. The worst 1-2 punch you can do. He also has the DT into the 4th. There's no detection there quite yet, no planetary.
Does the DT? Does he think he did?
He's investing in infrastructure right now with all these CCs, but he's worried about that big army outside of his base.
Those 2 Dark Templar actually did completely draw the army out of position. He's still killing SCVs here in the natural base. And those Vikings actually took a lot of damage while they were landed, so some of these are very easily one-shottable by the Stalkers, but luckily the Raxes out here will buy him a little bit of time. Still not the easiest engagement for him, but he is on, what is it, 17 Vikings, 11 Ghosts. You don't even need good EMPs, you just gotta throw out the EMPs.
There aren't any High Templars in there, that's a sentry.
Yeah, but just, I mean, even the EMP just strips away the shield, it reveals Dark Templar.
It's still good. But I feel like Terminator's the one that's missing part of his army here.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Colossus get absolutely destroyed by the Viking count. They'll land to deal with this, but meanwhile, 3 DTs do sneak in. However, I don't know, you snuck in 3 DTs for the cost of your entire army? Like,
Yeah, the entire army on 4 bases, doesn't quite have double robo either, so rebuilding Colossus won't be that easy. Did he make any High Templars just to have them back at home, gather energy?
Nope.
No.
Doesn't have Storm though, so it kind of makes sense. You know, we're too worried about feedbacks,
Yeah, I
I
guess
guess,
so.
right now. But feedbacks are good against the Ghosts. Feedbacks are great against the Medevacs.
Since he doesn't have that ready to go, I really do wonder his reasoning for hitting right then. And I guess it was like something to do with the 3-3, right? Because it hit exactly as 3-3 finished.
Yeah, you want to take advantage of the weapon ups and the armor upgrades if you can, but man, I don't know. That went really badly. Now, we do have more Marines on the way, but the concern for this is, of course, how do these Ghosts come into the factory? He's used up all the energy through Cloak. There's not really any EMPs left.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about it quite yet. It's that army is still not very big for Terminator, and it's still not very EMP weak, you know? Like, that army to begin with, EMPs are always good. They strip away shields. That's fantastic, but there wasn't mass charge lots, there aren't that many Archons, and there are no High Templars. Like, the Ghosts aren't as critical yet.
I actually get a little bit worried because I think the Marauder count is going to be pretty important. We see players like Happy, one of the best Terran players in Europe. He likes to go really heavy on the Ghosts and Vikings, and he goes light on the Marauders. And as a consequence, since I'm coming to the late game with not really enough to deal with Stalkers.
We got Immortals being mixed in here. I really wish Terminator, well, I guess hindsight 2020, right? Like, he hadn't done that attack in the first place. But that he would have a second Robo, be able to afford it, so it'd be double Immortals and a double Colossus. I mean, tech swaps are usually Zerg's thing, but they can also be effective for Protoss versus Terran as well. He's still not investing in a Storm. Those were just for Argons. It's so... It's interesting because, I mean, I guess High Templars didn't help out last game, but they were in, like, the perfect positions. Like, the best Protoss scattered them around the map, so you get, like, those surprise storms that save your life. He was so good at that, but he's not doing it this game.
You know, another thing too, I'd like to see him reinvest in the Warp Prism. If nothing else, I mean, it's really good for the reinforcement lines at the front lines. Just had no problem with that through pylons, but it would maybe draw the Terran army back to the main, draw it out of position. There's a lot of good ways you can use Warp Prisms to get some crazy behind the lines damage done, but I guess after those 17 Vikings earlier, you got spooked.
The ghost going out here is so dangerous.
Oh, actually, critic boosters.
Why? This seems unnecessary. Where are they going? Okay. How many Vikings do we have? 15. Okay, so that's still definitely good enough for 3 Colossus, and this is now going to be a little more susceptible to
those EMPs.
Oh my
god!
god!
Oh, the Archons just lose everything! This army gets annihilated, but the charge lots still proven to be quite strong underneath this. However, if there's no detection, there's no way to deal with the ghosts until they run out of energy, and we do see Bbyong turn this around on them.
Did he see the ghosts, or were they pre-cloaked?
Look at the Zealot! He ran out of cloak. They're starting to run out of use. They didn't have a lot to begin with, so those EMPs drained them out really fast. However, the Zealots and this Ghost trading out not too poorly. The Marauder's going to kill the Stalkers. Continue to scan like crazy, trying to pick up the last couple of DTs, and he knows the DTs are right there.
He did get most of the Vikings, all the Vikings in that engagement. The Ghosts still live, which is nice, but going back into Colossus again, if he had double robo production, would have been so nice. But now it's Bbyong who has the army lead. He's even on upgrades finally, and he's getting that really big bank. Remember that he built 3 CCs a long time ago, when things were looking kind of dire. You can start sending them around the map, using them for mules.
Oh, and that pylon goes down. Meanwhile, towards the south, this army is going to be well suited to deal with this. Nice way to actually go on a cooling tower. I keep forgetting that this is on the map, but it's just never used. This is annoying. Pick out the sensor tower, I think would have been more worthwhile. EMP does reveal stealth units, I always forget about that too.
Sorry, what is down here? Oh, factory. The factory's still alive. Oh. This game is looking pretty good for Bbyong.
Yeah, definitely way better than the last game, and even then the last game you managed to win.
First game. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess it's better than the first game, but that's not what not what I was getting at with that one.
Terminator just seems like he doesn't have a very... It's not he's doing anything like particularly bad or anything like that.
I'm not seeing confidence with the engagements.
Yeah,
they're unprovoked. There's no... the only reason to attack was timing. I mean, that seems so weird to try and abuse your weapons and armor like that. It's never going to outweigh something like a storm or an EMP. But he continues to throw himself at Bbyong in these really terrible engagements that aren't pressuring the natural base. They're not pushing into an SCV line. I mean, I don't know the point of dedicating that pressure. But hey, we got a nuke on the way. That's always cool.
Yes, it is always cool. It's not super necessary, but it's always cool. There's so many ghosts. Oh, that was a lot of EMPs.
Still misses some of the Archons here on the right side. However, that cloak is going to work out really nicely as all the observers were taken out of the fight. GG is calling him Bbyong after like 3 or 4 engagements, finally forces his opponent into submission, and he'll